Okay. So, based on your experience, how would you define sales? Just sales. How do you define it?
Sales is not a revenue oriented thing. It's, see, business is for profits, right? Sales is not a exchange of a transaction, monetary transaction. Sales is a mindset orientation, I would say. And this is how I define sales. You can have 1,001 definition, people have great books written on it, but I think sales is when the other person buys you, then he buys the product or the service, and then he buys the brand that you're servicing.
Right.
And it works exceedingly well in enterprise or B2C or B2B or SMB or whatever we talk about it. The root cause is the person first buys you. He doesn't buy anything else. If you can't sell yourself, and I'm saying literally, but if you can't sell yourself, if you can't sell yourself to the other person smartly, the other person doesn't buy it. He has 2 seconds to judge you, and he judges.
Right.
And this is only the. It's not like a game where you don't judge people. Here, people judge you. So if you can't have in 2 seconds, whether on mail or whether on phone or whether on a call, if you cannot make a dent that you're the guy who can deliver it, he will move ahead and buy from somebody else. And whom does he buy? He buys that person who's selling it to him.
Right.
So that's sales for me.
But do you think this also works for sales guys of big brands? For example, Pepsi, Coke. The brand goes first rather than the salesperson, right?
So it's easy to put your head behind the wall and say, "Look, I belong from this X brand,"
right?
Because the person, see, that in that element, the person has enough confidence to sell the brand first. But you see, the person who's successful, you'll find every other successful person, whether he works for an X big brand or a small brand,
right,
is somebody who sells himself first.
Correct.
You might stand behind a brand and sell it. It becomes easy for you because the other person is trusting the brand.
Correct.
See, somebody who built that brand first sold himself, then the product,
correct.
Then the brand. So there are 1,001 people who have done that. So you're basically piggy banking on them.
Right.
You're not doing something for yourself. You're not doing contributing zilch. You're basically a weirdo who's backing out with a brand, right? So that's fine. It's okay. It's fine. Nothing wrong in it. I've done that myself. But that's okay.
The question kind of came from that question only, which is because when you're with a big brand and then you try to sell something and it sells, and then you think you are a sales guy.
So I will use I will use a vernacular language here. Hindi में थोड़ा use करूँगा कि when I was in a big brand X, I will not name them. It sounds a little delusional. But if I so one of the brands. Okay, let's put it this way. I don't care now. so when I was in City, when I was selling a product, I used to tell customers, sir, मैं City से हूँ. आपको पता City कितनी बड़ी brand है? उसको कुछ नहीं पता.
Okay.
वो सोचते हैं हाँ बहुत बड़ी brand है सर. सर आपको पता है कहाँ कहाँ है हम आपको देने ले लो सर City की. So basically, I'm not selling myself. I'm just selling and piggy banking on the brand.
Correct.
But when you're in a startup or an SMB, the customer doesn't know jack about you or jack about your product.
Exactly.
But then suddenly you tell the customer, sir, then you problem solve the customer by selling yourself. Sir, मुझे पता है आपकी problem. I know your problem. You're facing this problem. I can solve that problem in 2 minutes. Okay. Forget everything. Buy my product or don't buy it, but I will solve your problem. The customer suddenly starts trusting you. The moment you buy, he buys your trust. You actually can sell him anything.